Gorillaz featuring Del, the funky Homo sapien from the album Gorillaz and G-Sides, and that is Rock the House. It really does give me great pleasure to welcome to the programme Andy Bell, whose excellent album, The View from Halfway Down, is out this week. Welcome, Mr. Bell. How are you?
Thanks, Janice. I'm very well. I've not started retraining yet, so I'm all good.
And where are you hanging out?
I'm at home in my house in London.
Okay. And this album, which is, as I say, it is wonderful. I think it's a real masterpiece and, a mixture of amazing stuff. What prompted you to do your debut solo album?
I was going to do a single eventually, initially it was going to be a single to follow up the one that came out the previous year. I did a 7-inch in 2019. Yeah. I dipped my toe in the water, and then I just was going to follow up with a 12-inch in this year. And then lockdown happened, and I was kind of sitting on quite a lot of material, and I just thought, why don't I just make it into an album instead? I was having trouble finding what songs to put on it, because the first two I wanted to put on felt too long and not enough singing, and then I was like, okay, 4 short songs with singing on. Then it was like, it wasn't spacey enough, so let's just put all of them on it and make it an album.
And it's very psychedelic.
Is it?
I think so.
It's all in the mind, that sort of thing, isn't it? I think it's quite clean and sort of... But I'm glad. I mean, I think music should be always a bit psychedelic.
Well, something that we're going to play later is a track I've been featuring a lot on the show, which is Love Comes in Waves. And I feel like a Teletubby every time I hear it because I want to go, again, again.
That's brilliant. I know you've been supporting the record. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. So how different is it for you, Ride, Hurricane, Number One, BDI, whatever, doing your own stuff?
It's good. I mean, it's a nice change. And it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of come about by circumstances rather than by a big design. But, my number one thing is being in a band, and I can't wait to get out again with Ride. But the Ride tour was cut short. So, I don't know. I mean, I think we're going to be doing some recording over the winter time. But yeah, in the meantime, this has been really cool to do as well.
But the sounds don't look good at the moment. Everything, seems to be being delayed more and more, doesn't it?
Yeah, you got to stay positive. I mean, eventually mass gatherings are going to come back. They are, aren't they, eventually?
Yeah. Now, a couple of things I really want to ask you about. We'll get this over with, because it really makes me so sad, the title, when I know what it's about, The View from Halfway Down, and I have to stop thinking about it.
I see the title as quite optimistic. It made me feel optimistic because it's
made me feel optimistic then.
Shall we explain what it's about for the listeners?
Yes.
All right, so the title comes from a BoJack Horseman episode, and for those who don't know, it's a really good cartoon series, American cartoon series. It's worth checking out. It's about a washed-up Hollywood cartoon horse and his exploits, in the sort of the autumn of his years sort of thing. And the show gets more and more serious as the seasons continue, and it gets quite into some pretty heavy themes. So the theme of this episode was kind of suicide, and a guy a character in the programme jumping to his death. And there was a poem that was about this jump, and the view from halfway down was basically the moment, the view that this character saw halfway down made them realise, I don't want to go through with this. I've got so much to live for. The message of hope in it for me is that just imagining that moment could put someone off doing something terrible like that.
Yeah.
So for me, it feels like just to imagine that sort of headspace felt quite like, well, put yourself in that position. You would never want to do that.
No, we hope not. And the opening verse, the weak breeze whispers nothing, the water screams sublime, his feet shift, teeter-totter, deep breath, stand back, it's time, and on it goes. But yes, you say that it's a poem of hope, and written by Alison Tafel, isn't it? Were you aware of her work before?
No, I wasn't. I just heard it in the show and was just really, really taken with it.
So you like that all of the time? Ideas are sort of hitting you.
Yeah, when I watched that, I was in my bunk in the tour bus on the American tour with Ride. So I was watching this this final season of BoJack, like as we were travelling between two different places, and that kind of that whole thing hit me, and I wrote it down and thought I'll just put that aside for later and use it at some point, or just come back to it, remind myself of the idea of it. And then I guess the other thing about this whole deal was this record came out on my birthday. I was 50. And there was something about this sort of 50 thing. It was like, well, if I live to be 100, that's the halfway point. This is the view from halfway down for me, So there's another level to it as well, I guess. Another reason for that title.
Let's play a track from the album. And it's funny, actually, because as soon as I saw the title when I first got it, Cherry Cola, what do you think I thought of?
I have no idea. Coca-Cola, but cherry flavour.
No, no, I thought of Lola by the Kinks.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Because they had to change it from Coca-Cola to Cherry Cola, didn't they?
Because it was a brand name, yeah.
It was a brand name, and that record inspired me to buy a guitar. What sort of stuff did you grow up on that inspired you?
Primarily the Beatles. That was the big thing. My dad had 4 albums, or 5 actually, 3 Beatles albums, Simon and Garfunkel, The Bridge Over Troubled Water, and I think I got a lot from that too, because I love Paul Simon. He's one of my favourite guitar players. All the finger picking and all that stuff. And then the 5th one was Scott Joplin, which didn't really have an effect on me. But I did like it. So I grew up on the Beatles, really. And then when I was... We should mention this, because we always do mention it when we chat, but at the age of 13, I heard the Smiths on your show.
That's right.
And I'd say Johnny Marr was my main guitar teacher as a kid. I learned from his records.
It's interesting because Indica, which I'm going to play in the final hour of the show after I've spoken to you, but there is a bit of a Bo Diddley guitar going on there, which reminds me of How Soon Is Now, because Johnny loved that kind of Bo Diddley sound, didn't he?
Yeah, and I love the story of How Soon Is Now, how he got that, because it's a very unique guitar sound. And the way that it was described to me, it was just a lot of amps, all with the tremolo setting going, and some kind of very elaborate mic technique to capture lots of guitars playing lots of amps, or one guitar playing lots of amps at the same time, with all different tremolos going,
Yeah.
So it kind of...
It's funny... Go on, sorry, carry on.
So it the sound kind of shifts, and that is Bo Diddley thing, but it's very, very modern at the same time.
It's funny that you mentioned How Soon Is Now, because I had Bernard Butler on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he must have been tuned in at the same time as you, because he said that changed his life, that song.
Well, it's a big one for sure. I mean, the Smiths were massive for me, massive.
But you mentioned the Beatles. Would you have a favourite Beatles album or song that you would always go to? Yeah,
I would always say Revolver is the one with all the 3-minute tunes on it, and then you've got Tomorrow Never Knows and all that sort of whole... What that opens up is just so huge and psychedelic in itself. But I also think the White Album is right up there as well.
Love the White Album. Absolutely adore that album. I think it's amazing. But of course, you were far too young. I was only a kid anyway when all that Beatles stuff was going on. And I was very fortunate to get a Beatles guitar, plastic one from Woolworths, and a plastic Beatles wig. And you can imagine the excitement at the time. But my mum and dad just absolutely adored them. Before that it was the Everly Brothers, and then along came the Beatles, and it was just like, wow.
My mum was into the Everly Brothers as well. She was
like the Everly Brothers.
Actually my dad was. He liked Cathy's Clown. It was
it was the same
sort of thing going on there. And even though I was too young, I was born in 1970, so when I was getting into it had been finished about 10 years. But it was still in the air. It was still because John Lennon had just been assassinated in 1980. Yeah. So that was when, I think if I remember right, they showed all the Beatles films one Christmas around that time. And that's what got me hooked. It was like seeing all the films and then going to record fairs with my dad. And I'd always save up some money and go, can we go and buy another Beatles album? And he'd be like, how much have you got saved up? And I'll be like, £2. And that would be enough to get you on,
It was so exciting, saving up for albums, something that you really, really wanted, and going to the shop and buying it and playing it again and again and again. There was such a thrill. Nothing came easy.
It didn't come easy. Also, you'd buy things without knowing what they were like because you'd just like the cover. Covers were so much more important back then.
Yeah. But I was just thinking, did you ever find that, you'd take home an album, you'd put it on, you'd listen to it, and you think, oh, I don't like track number 3, because you did listen in its entirety, and you'd listen again and again and again. And actually, quite often the song that you weren't that crazy on to start with became a favourite.
Yeah, definitely. We don't do that anymore, do we? We just skip through.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I like to listen to a whole body, which of course is what I've been doing with your album, The View from Halfway Down, and from it, this is Cherry Cola. Andy Bell and Cherry Cola, and that's on the album The View from Halfway Down. Andy Bell from Ride, Hurricane Number 1, Oasis and BDI, and this of course is his first debut solo album. You must be thrilled to bits with the following that you still have.
It's been really cool, to see the reaction to putting a tune out. It's been way more than I thought it was going to be, and I don't know, I think Ride's got a very good fan base who have been, I think a lot of them have been there since the very beginning, but it seems to have got stronger since we came back.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, I think we put out 2 really good albums. I think that definitely helps.
Yeah. But they are incredibly loyal, and obviously you're gaining fans along the way.
Well, one would hope so.
You must miss the guys.
Yeah, it's been a few months since we've all hung out. But, like I said, we're gonna be hanging out over the winter time, so...
And what are you making of Zoom?
I've done a few Zoom calls, done a few Skype calls, and this is a new flavour now with the microphone sitting in the laptop talking to you. Like a pretend phone call, but it's cool.
It's weird, isn't it?
I mean, any way to communicate is good. I sort of prefer it without the screen, without seeing...
I do. And also for me, you see, I can just throb around. When somebody wants a screen like Elvis Costello today, I have to go and put some mascara on. Plump the cushions up.
Yeah.
And he sounded like a broken Dalek. But hopefully... apparently he could hear me. I couldn't make any sense of him, but we got through it somehow. We decided that we'd just be professional and get on with it. You must look back at Creation as well sometimes and think what great days they were.
Absolutely. So amazing. I was basically a child when we signed. I was a teenager still, and it was all new to me, so therefore it wasn't strange. It was just, because it was new, it was just my only experience of the music business, or whatever you want to call it. So it was perfectly natural to me to be sitting there in the office with arriving at some sort of party where you had like Primal Scream playing the latest mixes from Scream with Elika that had just been mixed, and all the people that were in and out all the time. It was a real sort of community in those days, and it was for the entire time, really, Creation. I mean, great days, and you appreciate them more now when you look back.
And I'm so pleased that Alan McGee is, back and involved in music.
Yeah, me too. Alan keeps busy all the time. I'm always happy when he's doing something to do with, putting out new bands and new music. I think has he just switched from Creation 23 to a new Creation imprint?
Yes.
There's a new one about to happen. I'm not sure what it is called now, I've forgotten.
And doing management as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's a great guy, Alan.
I love Alan, really do. Always have.
Happy birthday, Alan. He just turned 60. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you then. He's just turned 60, so happy birthday, Alan.
Yes, happy birthday, and lots and lots and lots of love. Your guitar playing is absolutely amazing. Are you practising that all of the time to get better and better?
No, not really. I mean, I like sitting around the house with an acoustic and working out a tune. You know, that's one thing I did during lockdown was start putting stuff on my Instagram every day. I did a couple of things and just working out a song and then putting it on, a very rough version. I don't tend to get too intricate with it. I just nail the first riff and that sort of does it for me. But yeah, after doing a couple of those, I started getting requests for different ones, and so I'd like learn a tune, like, I don't know, something like Wichita Lineman someone would ask for, and I'd be like, okay.
Wow.
And it was, those kind of tunes are amazing to learn. So yeah, on the acoustic, I do like fiddling around with new stuff. And
I
it's
think
normally
it's
when you're learning someone else's tune is when you get an idea for your own tune as well.
But I do think it's lovely. I'm a patron of a place in Liverpool called the Flory, and they have guitar lessons, and various artists are actually doing it online and teaching them how to do one of their songs. You know, these people who've never had guitars in their life, had never picked up a guitar, had no idea how to play, and there's quite a few of them now, and they've started doing little festivals and what have you. But I just think it's fabulous that, you know, in these times, the spirit is still going. People are still, want to give their time and help people, and they want to learn.
It's great. I mean, it's a very easy instrument to get started on. You can probably sit down for like 10 minutes and go from zero to playing a tune in that time. And it's obviously working in Liverpool because every street corner's got a busker on it, hasn't it?
Yes. Yes, it does. It does. Let's take a break for some more music. And this is the fabulous Andy Bell with Love Comes in Waves. Oh, gorgeous. Love Comes in Waves. I just love that hook. It's absolutely brilliant. Love Comes in Waves from Andy Bell. And is it your voice that's multi-tracked?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Really, really brilliant how that's produced. I absolutely adore it. I was just about to say about Hurricane #1. What a fantastic band they were too.
Yeah, it's sort of a forgotten one really because we only were going for a couple of years. But yeah, it's a really good band.
Step Into My World. Oh!
Yeah.
I'll be singing that later. And we've already got Kathy's...
now and again.
Do you? It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. We've got Kathy's Clown and How Soon Is Now in the final hour of the programme. I just thought I'd let you know.
Excellent.
Shara Bell, because there's this magnificent photograph of you in profile. I think it's a stunning photograph. And it's by Shara Bell. Any relation?
It's my missus.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we needed a photo in lockdown, so that was just like, stand there and I'll take a picture sort of thing.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
No one else was allowed in the house, you see.
Of course. And you can't really take a picture through the window, can you?
No. But she's got a good eye.
No, well, it is. It's a stunning, absolutely stunning photograph. So you've got lots of promo doing it this way because the album's coming out, I suppose.
It's coming out in 2 days' time. I'm very excited.
Yes. Yeah, I bet you are. And so you'll be talking to lots and lots of people around that time. Do you miss going to Oxford?
I do. I get there now and again. You know, my mum and dad's still there, so I go and see them. And, I want to go and see them soon when it's possible, you know.
Are they all right?
They're good. They're good.
Good.
They've been doing lots of gardening in this. We had some good weather, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yeah, my dad's the same. Gardening. Lots of gardening and nipping out for things. Just keeps nipping out. Oh, I need 3 for the price of 10 from whatever shop it is to keep him going.
That's not a bargain, Janice.
I know, but he just wants to get out. He'll do anything just for a change of scenery. And he's not one of those who can sit down and watch daytime telly. You know, he's not one of those kind of older people. So gardening is his thing, and walking and nipping out to the shop every now and again. Talking about Oxford, Wayland Road, Haddington. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's referred to in one of the titles on the album, Heat Haze on Wayland Road, and that's because that song's instrumental, but it did have lyrics, and the lyrics were all about me as a very, very young kid living on that street. And one of my first memories is of seeing the heat haze in the air.
Yes.
In the summer of '76, which was a very hot summer.
Incredible. There were standpipes, weren't there? For water. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a memory that I still feel it, like the smell of the melting tarmac and the way that I was looking across the road at the neighbours, across the road at the houses, and they were like shimmering.
Yeah.
And I was 5 or 6 going, wow, what's that?
Well, I was in Amsterdam at the time, living in a tent, but everybody back home would tell me how incredibly hot it was. Did you play with the tar and get your lolly ice stick and dig out the tar?
Yeah. And it's very hard to get out of your fingers.
Yeah, that was a regular pastime.
It smells great.
Fabulous smell. Absolutely fabulous smell. But I think the way you've produced this as well, you get the image of a heat haze.
Yeah, it's funny because I was kind of going for that with the sounds on it, and I had all these lyrics in it, and then I happened to hear it without them and thought it was better. It summed it up more.
No, it's an excellent track, and in fact it's the final track on the album. So have you got myriad songs in your filing cabinet in your mind ready to go?
Yes, I think we'll be doing this again at some point. There's always songs there, just need finishing off.
And it's been an enjoyable experience.
It's been lovely, yeah. It's been great. I've had a good year this year, despite everything.
Oh, good. Well, I'm pleased for you, and it's a pleasure to talk to you. And once again, congratulations on this magnificent album, The View from Halfway Down. I promise I'll play, did you say it, Indica, or Indica, that's how you say it, Indica, isn't it?
Indica is how I say it, yeah.
Yeah, in the last part of the programme, but we're going to end on Heat Haze on Wayland Road. You take care, love to your family.
Thanks, Janice, same to you.
All right, lots of love. Cheers, Andy Bell.
See you, bye.
Heat Haze on Wayland Road from Andy Bell's The View from Halfway Down. And once again, Andy, thank you very, very much indeed. It's the Marvelettes after this.
As a child, stand-up comedian Mo Omar moved from Somalia to Cardiff. Now he's exploring his Welsh identity.
Now,